Hello, welcome back to another pen talk. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be looking at a pen which I got interested in because of Wasky Squirrel saying how much he loved the pen, and so I felt I would take a look around. I didn't expect to really find one, but I found this on one of the pen board classified sections where pen people sell pens, and the price was excellent, so I put in an offer and I got it. What's interesting is there's no branding on the cap at all, and it's not a clip that I recognize. This is also a pen which I have not had a lot of experience with. I just have one of them, which I haven't discussed in my videos. There's decent weight to it, nice metal cap, just a standard pull-off cap, and there we see the branding at the top of the section. It's an Aurora 88. I need to find out the date. I'm going to do more research on that. There's a serial number, what appears to be a serial number, on the back of the section. Considering it's branded in the front, that might be something of importance. The piston goes up and down fairly smoothly. I'm definitely going to take it apart and clean it, and one of the things that's nice about it is the section just unscrews. There's a lot of threads there which are nice. I've already put the piston down at the bottom, and we're going to be cleaning this out. There's a fair amount of black ink in here. There was some blue ink in the section and nib that I think the seller used to do a test writing. The other thing that interested me in this pen was the nib is advertised as a soft, somewhat flexible nib, so it certainly does look that way. So I'm looking forward to doing a little bit of restoration work on this and putting some nice ink in it and seeing how it writes. So we'll take you through that journey, and hopefully it comes out as nicely as we expect it to. I've spent some time with the Aurora 88 vintage. I cleaned it up a little bit. It didn't require much. I now know that this is the iconic clip design on the original 88. Also has a little silver finial at the top of the cap. Same material it is in these two rings. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. Celluloid body and ebonite section and blind cap. I can't tell from the feel. I mean, the materials all feel the same in my hands. As you can see, it's a very good sized pen. It fits extremely well in the hand. It posts fine. You can feel the cap because the cap does have some weight to it. We'll give you those weights. One of the things about buying vintage, and I've read that a few pens have lost their little plug here at the end of the blind cap, and that's a screw I'm assuming you could take out that would let you remove the blind cap and then probably push out the piston cylinder. And this thing is easy to repair as long as you take your time and understand what you're doing. At least that's what I understand. But since this works great as is, I did silicone the inside here, and the piston slides up okay. I wouldn't call it extremely smooth, but for a pen that's well over 60 years old, I think you're going to have to understand that not everything's going to be perfect. The serial number is about 1.8 million, which puts the manufacturing date at 1952, which is the year I was born. So that's pretty nice. I don't have a pen that I can date to that year exactly. It slips on and off very nicely. The nib stays wet. And that's one of the reasons why I got this pen, was because of the way it was described by the seller. And let's take a look at how the nib goes on the paper. Picking up an Aurora pen, you should use an Aurora ink. So this is the a new blue black, which I thought would be a good ink to throw in here. I think the color's okay, but it's not an ink that hits it out of the park in my view, but it is a nice everyday use in any type of occasion ink, and it has great flow and wetting capabilities. Flow is phenomenal, as you can see. The nib is pretty smooth. I did have to adjust the tines a little bit, but it's a minor adjustment, and I've been getting more comfortable with looking at the nib under a loop and doing little things like adjustments and the smoothing. And you know, he set an ebonite feed, so you know, you become more comfortable with pens. And you know, I love vintage, so obviously it's going to require some intervention by me, the writer. And I also like inexpensive pens, which also require usually a little bit of fine tuning, but that's the fun part. These are analog devices, and they relate to tuning. This requires no pressure to lay down ink on the paper, which I can't say that about every pen. The other thing is the grip. You know, this is supposedly to emulate a Parker 51 in design, and it does emulate it. And you know, semi-hooded nib, not fully hooded, which is like the 51 has. But then the 51 was designed to use that quick drying Parker Quink ink, so this one was designed to use a more normal type of ink. So here's the 88, and I've just paired it up with two early Parker 51s. Obviously very similar, cigar shaped, a little bit more of a rounded end here, and this is a flat end which has the jewel in it. But the barrel looks very similar. I've always liked the clip on the Parkers. The one with the blue jewel is very nice. That's their lifetime guarantee. Even though this has a nice gold-filled cap, and this is that Lustaloy cap, this one doesn't have it. It's a later model clip. It may be the body of the pen belays it to be an earlier pen, but you never know. And if you take a look at the top, you can see the nice jewel that the Parker 51 has, and they tried to emulate it in the Aurora 88. Cap, they're also very similar in length. You can see the noticeable girth difference, and also it's a shorter section. Here's a very long section, and there's a fully hooded nib and a semi-hooded nib. I certainly do enjoy writing with the Aurora 88 more than I do with any of the Parker 51s that I've been able to restore. These are the early vacuumatic ones. The aromatic filler ones I find easier to work on because I haven't really been able to fix any vacuumatics yet. As part of my goal for a future time. Or the close-up that shows emphasizes the differences. Both of them have, people might call it a clutch ring or whatever, but this is used to engage the cap when it's posted or when it's capped. Yeah, there's one at both ends on the 88, whereas the Parker 51 just relies on a friction fit when you post it. So again, you can see, I think it emulates but doesn't mimic. You know, that's a fine line, but it is an interesting correlation, and they were inspired by the Parker 51. That may be a better terminology. Comfortable. I find this pen to be extremely comfortable in total. It feels better in a hand to me than the 51 because this section is a little bit bigger. I didn't go into a great deal of history on this pen. I'm going to link you to two videos that I think go into it in much more depth than I want to. So if you're interested, you can look those up, Pelahale and Alaskan Squirrel. One is a couple years old, but still very good. And he goes into a level of detail that I think is extremely good. So hopefully you've enjoyed this look at, I think I would call this vintage. You know, it's hard to say vintage. I talked about post-vintage, pre-modern, you know, a whole bunch of phrases you can use, but considering this was design was based on like the Parker 51, which came out in the early 40s, which is definitely vintage, and this is early 50s, so it goes into vintage. And I'm very happy that I now have an 88 in my collection to write with and enjoy and appreciate. There'll soon be another one coming, so look for another video in the future on that one. It has an italic nib, at least it's been advertised as that, so I'm looking forward to that. So may you all have great writing experiences. Enjoy the pleasures of pens and life and all the variety that they both have. Till later, bye.